God damn it, Cash. This game was so fucking cute. It was ridiculous. I didn't expect it to be so charming and lovely. But yes, we're here today to talk about Tearaway, which is a PlayStation Vita exclusive created by Media Molecule, famed British development studio, who created Little Big Planet, another Sony flagship franchise. And I got to say that one thing. I mean, how long's the Vita been out as a platform now?
Um,
2 years.
2 years plus, I'd say, just about. Yeah, we're getting.
Yeah, and one of the things I've always felt that it suffers from is that it lacks any kind of identity away from just the PlayStation brand. Like the 3DS has its own titles that make it stand out as a system, whereas the PS
Yeah,
Vita doesn't really.
it didn't, and I mean, for a long time it didn't. I mean, the initial games that came out were pretty much ports. For example, you had Uncharted, which was a decent game, but it was a port nonetheless. It wasn't anything different than what we've come to expect on the PlayStation 3 versions.
And most of
Uh,
the time, they were inferior versions. I mean, like the Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is the PS Vita one, is, as far as I'm aware, an original adventure, but it's just an inferior version to what essentially you are playing on the PlayStation 3.
yeah. I mean, it's if you like Uncharted, by all means, it's free on the PlayStation Plus. Even get it, you'll enjoy it. You're not gonna kind of hate it or anything. It's a decent game, decent adventure. But in terms of it being a kind of highlight or the pinnacle of the Vita, it definitely most isn't. And I think we didn't really have that. And there's very few games. I mean, the only other example I can give of is probably Gravity Rush,
Yeah.
which is kind of one of the big top titles in the PS Vita. But that'll change until Tearaway came and just kind of rewrite everything.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really love this game far more than
I think
a
far
big
more than we're
Geordie
supposed to,
should.
because yeah, exactly. We're all grown-up men and with beards, and I've got a family as well. But I enjoy the hell out of it. It's absolutely brilliant. I
Yeah,
loved it.
I love this game completely. And I'd actually go as far to say as I actually think I prefer Tearaway as a property to Little Big Planet, which I was completely endeared by as well back on the PlayStation 3. I think this is a stronger franchise as far as a marketable. I think the Iota, the little character, is more marketable. And
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think Little Big Planet has had its day. As you say, it's brilliant. I loved it. I liked it. But I mean, Little Big Planet 2, I never didn't really play it much. There's Little Big Planet Kiting, which I haven't touched. And also you have the PSP version and the Vita version of the Little Big Planet games.
yeah,
Again, I had to play with, didn't really touch. Because I mean, it'd all been kind of done before, wasn't anything brand new.
well, that's it. I actually, I think the Vita version of the Little Big Planet is free on PlayStation Plus at the moment
Yep.
in December. Or was it January? It might not even not be. I think it was in December, wasn't it?
I think it was in a bit so because I remember getting it.
Yeah, I've definitely got it. But had it at the same time as Tearaway, and I kind of started playing it for about an hour, and then I just went back to Tearaway because I fucking love this game so much. So yeah, Tearaway is essentially a 3D platformer from Media Molecule that does its best to show off the Vita as its own unique system. One thing that kind of this is the first game I got on my Vita. It came with it in a bundle. It's probably the best value bundle you can get at the moment because it comes with
Yeah,
Tearaway.
it's
I tell a
comes
lie.
with Tearaway and Little Big Planet.
Yeah, Little Big Planet wasn't free
But
on PS Plus. It was
it's
free with
interesting
this
because
bundle.
it's interesting because you got me. Yeah, bleh, excuse me. You got the exact same bundle as I did, and the reason I got the bundle wasn't really for Tearaway. It was probably more for kind of the anticipation of getting the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Uh, and
that's entirely why I got mine.
and
I wanted remotely.
I got this bundle because A, Little Planet, it's a good game. I thought, I'm not going to kind of um, lose anything out of it, so I'm going to kind of play it. But B, because I heard a lot about Tearaway and I heard it was kind of a good game. I thought, it looks kind of a bit too cutesy for my liking. I watched a couple of trailers. I didn't think much of it, and I thought, I'll give it a whirl. But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I kind of gave it the time and the attention it deserved.
Yeah, it's really unique in that it's very unique in its presentation because the entire world you play in is a papercraft world. Everything's made out of paper, and there's some really inventive use of that aesthetic. And it also does its best to show off what the Vita can do. It uses the control pad and buttons that are there to do the basic platforming. It encourages use of the touch screen for certain functions. It encourages use of the back touch panel for certain things. It uses the accelerometer. It uses the camera. It uses everything in the Vita's arsenal.
It's almost as if Sony said to them, right, but every part of the Vita that you use, or for every feature of the Vita that you use, will give you an extra kind of $1 million.
Yeah, it really.
And they were just like, yep, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. But it's not just stuck on; it's actually done very well. Like, for example, going back to Uncharted, it used the accelerometer, and it used kind of the touchpad, but it didn't really do it in a kind of interesting way. It was just to take, a photo, which was generic. It was to kind of move Drake along the climbing frame, which was okay if you didn't really want to kind of move that long street. But there was nothing really intriguing. But Tearaway uses them in such a entertaining fashion.
Oh yeah,
and so I've never played a game that's kind of used any kind of touch controls, motion controls in this way. It's just absolutely brilliant, and I love every second of it.
Yeah, I mean, for something that is so gimmicky, it doesn't feel gimmicky at all. It feels like a really solid piece of. Well, it just feels like a really solid game, and it just feels like a natural extension of the game. It's marvelous. But the touch aspects actually come into the story. I mean, this is a game with a story. It's very kind of basic, but it's an unusual one in the fact that you technically play as yourself in the game.
Yeah, it's very hard to explain who the main character is. Of course, you kind of control Iota, but the control you have onto him goes far beyond the control through the Vita. It's almost like a metaphorical control, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, so Iota is essentially, he's a messenger he's actually a living message. Yep. And he's born when you accidentally tear a hole into the papercraft world. And essentially, your face is projected into the game via the front-facing camera on the Vita, and you're essentially this big smiling face through the sun in this papercraft world.
You are the Teletubby sun.
Yeah.
I mentioned this before.
Yeah, I just look like a grim, hungover son. Playing this on New Year's Day, and I just didn't look good at all. I was thinking, God damn.
I remember you saying you'd give Iota the day off just because you looked that rough.
Yeah, I just looked fucking terrible. Enough that it put me off playing, but
it's weird. I don't think I can think of a game that kind of had that control over you. Do you look good enough to play the game?
Yeah. Oh God, I was just like, Jesus Christ, stop showing the sun. Just keep moving along, Iota. Don't look at me. But what's even worse though is you're always kind of like semi-omnipresent. The sun's always in the game in some way, shape, or form. It's like hanging in the sky in the background when you go through the levels. It's showing cutscenes, but yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. But essentially, the general story is that you've torn a hole into the world and create like a sun. You're looking through the sun. You're a big face in the sky. Iota's this message, and he has to be delivered to you to kind of fulfill his journey.
Yeah, he has to kind of deliver this message, and when he does. It's a bit sad, really. His kind of mission is complete, and he can kind of, not rest in peace. I suppose he's
scrambled up and put in the bin.
Yeah, that's it. His mission is complete, and he can kind of wander off into the sunset, as it were.
Yeah, but the danger in the story is that in tearing open the hole, you've unleashed these malevolent beings called the Scraps. The otherwise picturesque.
They're right little bastards, aren't they? Oh my God.
They're devious.
They've got their own little kind of gimmicky theme tune as well when they come on. It's like nah. It's like a throwback to kind of the evil villains of old kind of Saturday morning cartoons, and it's really interesting whenever they come on. Yeah, this really funky kind of villain theme tune, and it spurs you along. It actually kind of fits really well with the aesthetic of the game, and there's many different ways to kind of interact with them and dispatch them. It's not so much jump on them and they'll die. You can pop them up with your fingers. You can throw other creatures at them. Some of them on stilts, you can roll around and knock them off the stilts and finish them off and stuff. And even though essentially the scraps are pretty much the same in terms of how they look between each type, the way you deal with them is quite different, and the options are quite limitless as well. And
when they start mixing and matching the different types together, you can get some actual pretty dynamic action sequences.
There is. It's actually quite complicated, and you think is it a kiddies game? That it's interesting to kind of think like how you would deal with them.
Yeah, I mean it's never overly difficult, this game, but you do require a bit of thought. And I felt it was a lot of fun, just like the combat and the general platforming. I thought the platforming actually was handled very well for a 3D platformer. I never got frustrated with bad camera. The level design was always varied and interesting. I don't think there's any really bad levels in this game, and I got quite involved in the story, as basic as it is. I really liked.
You wanted him to succeed, absolutely. I mean, because you can pick between a girl or a boy. I mean, I picked a boy, obviously. No offense to any ladies listening out there, but I think it was just. I didn't know if I could trust myself with a girl, to be fair. I'm a married man now, but you can pick your guy and you can modify and customize him to quite a heavy extent.
Over the course of the game, I actually made mine like a barbarian warrior. I give him a horned helmet.
I gave my guy a top hat. I made him very classy. I made him look really good. I was like, yo, you're going to get some action. Once this mission's done, don't go anywhere. You're going to get some paper mache action going on.
We'll go and find the girl message.
Yeah.
But as you see, you can customize your Iota, or I think the girl's called Atoy.
Oh, is it? All right, okay.
She certainly does have a different name, but I haven't really. It's Atoy, and you can customize them completely. When you can kind of touch them on the screen, and it'll zoom into them. And there's a selection of
hold over, I think it is.
Yeah, and it's kind of basically using touch gestures to modify them, and you can place different types of eyes, mouths, and noses, and various decorations. And you can unlock extra decorations by spending confetti, which is essentially a collectible that's scattered throughout the world.
Yep.
And on top of this, as you go through the game, you'll eventually unlock a cutting board, which is kind of like a real-life paper cutting board, a paper craft board. And you can use the touchscreen again to drag sheets of paper on and cut out shapes and make decorations. And as you create a top hat, I created a horned helmet and a flaming sword I strapped to his back. And it's loads of different things.
It's brilliant because the game, once you kind of introduce it to the characters and the world itself, it gives you all these options, and that's just it. They're options. I mean, there's only very few instances that actually kind of forces you to do them. Like, for example, early on, I remember you've got to give the Squirrel King his crown back.
And I actually thought, crown.
I know, I saw that. I couldn't be bothered with it, but I looked at it and I thought, you know what? Why do I have to make this guy a crown? Do I have to take a picture or something? How do I do this? And it kind of takes you by the hand and says, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And it's really interesting. It kind of brings out the inner designer in you. And it's just a throwback to the design of, if you remember, Little Big Planet, how you can get freedom with your choices and the decisions and the designs that you make. And it's as I say, there's a lot of options. Probably not as much as Little Big Planet and what you can do, but you do have the freedom to kind of make your own stuff to an extent. And
that's it. It kind of hinges on how artistic you are and how good you are with cutting shapes out and everything. I got better, but I was never great. So some of my stuff looked pretty rough. But it really is up to your own imagination. You are limited to how many different individual items you can stick on Iota, but it's up in the 30s, I think, before it starts.
Before I start saying, hang on, he's looking a bit bulky now. Maybe we should tone it down a little bit. Or like that. Yeah. I mean, I want to stress as well. You don't really have to be a genius or a very creative person. You can just make just the box standard crown or a box standard kind of flame or something like that.
That's it.
It will just get the job done.
I mean, when the game does ask you to create certain things, it doesn't give a shit what they look like. Because let's face it, it doesn't have any way to tell what they look like.
But you know what? It makes you feel like $1 million with the Squirrel King's like, yo, that is the best crown I've ever seen. You think,
easy please, man.
Exactly, easy please. But you know what? I'm quite proud of myself.
What I like though is that the things you would create would actually pop back up later in the game as well at certain points.
Yep.
And it would kind of create this feeling of consistency in this world, and that you were having an impact on it. You were this hero that come to save this
this is it. You, as you said, you are the hero, but it goes beyond you, the hero being Iota. It's you, kind of the guy looking at the Vita. You're the hero, and everything you do has an impact on the world, as you say. Yeah.
As the game goes on as well, it's kind of more suggested that you, as the player, this omniscient and omnipotent presence that is guiding Iota to you, and as well, like the kind of conclusion to the story, it almost not giving anything away, but it almost gave a different slant on the events that we're going through. It kind of gave insight into Iota's own little mind that you hadn't been privy to previously? You were
No,
very
no,
much
because
playing as yourself, just guiding this little creature.
I always very much third person. Even though you're kind of controlling him and you've got customization, I don't think you have any idea what's going on through his head. He could be quite, I don't know, murderous, I guess. He could have these really dark and evil thoughts.
Well, he does. He does commit like genocide against the scraps, practically. There's an achievement for killing them all as well. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's really cute. But you also get a camera early on in the game, which you can use the confetti currency again to unlock different filters and different lenses for different purposes. And I thought that was actually quite good because you can even take selfies.
Yep, you can take selfies. I love that. I thought it was really good. I thought it'd be quite cheesy, but yeah, you can take selfies.
And they all get uploaded to a Tearaway website, so you can actually pull them off the website and like have them as pictures. And I just thought that was a really nice little touch as well.
Yeah,
There's some nice little pictures you can gather over the course of the game.
Yeah, they've obviously thought about kind of the little things, and just the whole thing about kind of kids these days having access to a lot of technology. And they've kind of, I guess they kind of had that in the back thought. So when they've developed these things, the game can kind of carry on with them, not just from the Vita, but also from the computer. They can then look at the pictures they've taken. They can then look at the achievements they've done, compare it with their friends, compare it with other people, rate other people's pictures, etc., etc. It really is just kind of a well thought out game. It doesn't just stop at the Vita at all.
No, it certainly doesn't. And expanding on that, because everything in this game is a papercraft creation, it almost like seems like Media Molecule actually went out of the way to make sure everything in game could actually be created reasonably with real material. So much so that you can pretty much unlock everything in the game as a real life papercraft plan that you can go onto a website and print out.
Yep, I have no shame in admitting that I absolutely want to do this. I've got the blueprints printed for the main character Iota. And when I get some time or even some bravery, because I know I'm going to screw it up, when I get some extra paper, I'm going to try and stick it together and put it on my desk at work just because I think it'll be absolutely amazing.
If somebody I don't think I would have the skill to pull it off because he looks complicated. But if somebody made me an Iota, I'd be all fucking moon.
I know to get you for your birthday now, mate. Now.
Yeah, I just have you papercraft. But I mean, even unlocking this papercraft on the website, an activity in game, you'll come across various items or characters in the game that are drained of all their colour. They're essentially white and textureless. And if you take a picture of them with your magic papercraft camera, you restore their colour into the world, and they unlock as a papercraft plan, which I thought was a really nice touch because it actually gives you an incentive to go around and collect all these things.
Yeah,
some of them are hidden. Really
exactly. Some of them, they don't even appear on the game screen. You kind of have to go into picture mode and then just look in a certain direction. Some of them, even at a certain time, others won't be there.
And some of them are in levels that take place before you actually receive the camera, making you have to go and backtrack.
All the way back. Yep. I remember that. I remember seeing one of the characters from the game just being completely white. And I thought, wow, is that a bug? This is a bit rubbish, bug in the game. But then I think a few moments later, I got the camera and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And that's actually one thing I do like about this game is that while it is broken into chapters that you can jump between as you like, it is still kind of like an open world to the point where you can play like start at the beginning and it's like a continuous trail. There's no real scenes between the levels as such.
No, there isn't. I mean, you get kind of your checkpoints, as it were, the storybook openings, but there isn't ever a kind of like, you've completed level 1, level 2, and it's just kind of a brand new aesthetic. It all kind of merges into one level, or you stumble into another level, or you get taken to another level, and it's all quite believable. It's all within the same world.
Yeah, it feels like this little fairy tale world made of paper, and I just really like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely such a wonderful, as you say, a charming world, and it's really well done, it's really well thought out. Everything is, as you say, believable, and it's just made so more by the fact that you've got kind of the papercraft option available as well.
Yeah, it's lovely, and that is the best word to describe this game. It is charming. I've caught myself like just beaming away like just a fucking moron at this game just because I was so happy when I was playing it.
I know, and it takes pictures of you at times and you're just grinning like an idiot. It's just quite funny, that, but it's weird to ever have, as you say, it's very strange to have this, for a game to have this kind of control over you, where you kind of worrying not only about how well you're doing in terms of gameplay, but how well you're looking as well in real life.
Yeah, and this is the first game in, well, goddamn, since achievements were invented as a kind of mainstream thing that I have actually gone and 100%ed because I loved it that much. And to be fair, the achievements weren't going to be that difficult to get.
No, 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 they're not. I think it's just a grind more than anything.
It is. It's time consuming, but to be honest, I finished the game in maybe, I don't know, 6 hours. It's not a terribly long game, but I felt that it was just about right. It didn't outstay its welcome, which some games tend to.
Yes, they do.
It seemed to come to a nice, natural conclusion, which I like. But I went back to get all the achievements, and I think it took me another 4 hours. So I got a lot of extra playtime, and it never once felt like a grind because the charm was still there, and I was still discovering new things, and I was just quite enjoying myself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just to kind of reiterate what you're saying, I didn't ever feel like it was kind of dragging on at points. The story didn't ever feel like it was getting boring or too kind of loose at parts. And I've gone back and I've kind of got some more papercraft because there's characters that I want to kind of create, and I don't necessarily have the papercraft to it. So I found a guide and kind of gone back and done it again. And yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I don't think I've got the time to do the 100% myself, but it's very rare that you can kind of see a game, as you say, that will actually spur you on to go ahead and 100% complete it.
Yeah, I really, really like this game. It was a lot of fun. One criticism I've got actually of the general kind of flow of the campaign or the story. Not that this game really hinges on story, but it kind of annoyed me because Little Big Planet did it a little bit as well. In that, I think the latter sections kind of just fly off the handle into this really bizarre, slightly meta direction.
They were quite trippy, weren't they? The last couple of levels,
and they didn't really possess the charm of this kind of cutesy fairy tale world that I'd been stumbling through. And Little Big Planet, at least the first one, I think, if memory serves, did this as well, where it starts to get very meta and like referring to the real world in game, and it's just getting a bit too far out there, and it took away from the charm somewhat. But at the same time, those trippy levels were some of the better platforming. They were really challenging, and getting through them without dying for the fucking trophies was frustrating.
Speaking of kind of levels and the game introducing you to new kind of ways of playing, I think the part where you're in the giant bus, is it, and you meet and you're trying to save the other messenger, and it's quite grim because it starts off like that's another messenger that's basically someone who failed to deliver their message.
Yeah, and they're trapped here and have been for thousands of years.
And the song that plays in the background is just so. It's like kind of creepy. It's really haunting. It's really creepy, and you're kind of given this ultimatum: you are its only hope. Otherwise, it's doomed eternity to kind of forever be a failure. And it is just really haunting and really kind of scary.
See, that's where the letters from the post office get to.
Yeah, that's it. Right, it's a Royal Mail simulator.
That level in particular is really kind of trippy and slightly dark. And that song is haunting, and what's worse is it's meant to be the actual other messenger who's like singing it.
It is.
It's like the only thing they've got left of their humanity is to sing this song as kind of a warning to you.
Yeah, it's like a siren almost leading you astray, as it were. It really is something, but when you do it's quite pleasant as well, because you know you've kind of done some good, and he kind of gets taken away to go and deliver his message, as it were.
Yeah, you see it. You know, it's all happy in the end. But I mean, playing this game, I was actually like kind of sitting playing it, and I was thinking I wouldn't actually mind to see if Media Molecule could manage to pull out the bag like a PlayStation 4 version of this, maybe on a grander scale.
Yeah,
I was thinking you could. I mean, the big crux of this gameplay is the various inputs you've got. You've got the touch, you've got the accelerometer, and you've got the camera. But I was thinking, you know, with the PlayStation 4, you might be able to get away with the touchpad on the DualShock 4.
I was going to say you probably got all of that. Bar the camera. I mean, you'd have to make the camera in a sense.
You could use the PlayStation Eye. It's not something I actually own, but you could.
Yeah, as I say, you'd have to have the PlayStation Eye's camera, or if they're really clever, they could connect the Vita up do it that way. But I can't see many people.
You know what? You can get second screen functionality, and they've also got the smartphone app that has that same functionality built into it.
Yeah. All right.
So there are ways around it, I suppose. But I was thinking this would be really good on a big screen, and maybe have a 4-player cooperative or something where you can all like team up your different IOTAs and toys together and just pal about. I like that idea, but yeah, I really like this game. I think it comes close, as close to as humanly possible to a Vita system seller, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't think it's ever gonna fucking meet up to that expectation. I don't think Sony are really pushing for Tearaway all that much. I mean, it came out in
No, I didn't
November,
really hear that much.
and
I mean, I knew it was coming out, and I knew there was some interesting gameplay aesthetics to it. But again, the only reason I got it is because I had quite some stark raving reviews on some game websites. And I thought, I'll get this in a bundle along with Little Big Planet, a game I kind of wanted to play as well.
yeah.
But I was very pleasantly surprised. And as you say, every person who has a Vita should own this game.
Oh, it's lovely. It's such a nice game, and it appeals to all ages. So the whole family can get use out of it. You can have actually on that note, you can actually have multiple save files as well, so you don't have to trample on each other's progress.
Spoiler one day. Can you imagine your mum spoiling the level for you or something? like, oh, do you like it when you save that Wendigo? No.
That's the thing, like the little baby Wendigo you get. I thought that was a fucking frog. When
I had no idea what the fuck it was. Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't think it was a Wendigo. Let's put it that way. I wasn't sure what it was. I think frog is probably closer to what I was thinking.
I just thought it was some kind of like frogman thing, it was like an outcast, so you've teamed up with it. But yeah, see, even that bit where you've got your little friend with you, that was so charming. And
it was so good because he follows you, and it's almost like Bioshock Infinite. He doesn't really get in your way, and you don't have to worry about him. He'll do everything.
And he eats scrap. Barricades, doesn't he? Eat newspaper,
he eats newspaper that kind of lets you progress through the level.
But you can even dress him up as well. That's the best.
You can customize him. I think I gave him some horns just to make him look, because he looked quite kind of timid. I thought, if you're going up against the scraps, you need to look like a really mean bastard. So I gave him some really big fuck off horns, and he looked mean. He looked really cool.
I just loved that section of the game. I was like, it was just so cute. That's the only way to describe it. It was ridiculous how much pleasure it brought me.
And then I was genuinely upset when he got kidnapped by the scraps, and I was actually like, you know what, you motherfuckers, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm so after you.
I must admit though, when he turns back up later on, I'd completely forgotten about him. I was like, oh shit, it's my friend.
Yeah, I kind of thought, oh, there you are, finally. I was hoping like Media Molecule didn't forget about him, because I would have been so annoyed.
See, that would have been the DLC if they had.
The rescue of the Wendigo. But then he meets up with his mum, and they all live happily ever after. It's a happy ending. It's good.
It is. Everything about this game's happy. It's a lovely little game. So yeah, I think we've probably covered as much as we can. We'll even lead into spoiler territories there in the intricate plot. So, what would you? We'll give our ratings then as a summary. So, what would you rate this?
I'll give this an A. Definitely, I'll give it an A.
Yeah,
I was thinking B plus A minus, but I think that's a bit harsh. I think it's a deserving of an A. I mean, I wouldn't go all the way to A plus or an S even, but an A absolutely. And if you've got a Vita, get this game. Don't be cheap and wait for it to get on the PlayStation. Just go ahead and buy it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I was actually teetering on the verge of you, B plus, A minus, but I think A as well. As I say, it's as close to a system seller for the Vita as it comes. I just don't think it's been pushed enough by Sony. I think it's really, really charming. It's so charming. In fact, it's ridiculous. I still smile and grin when I just think about it. I liked it enough that I went all the way through and did absolutely fucking everything. And I spent far too much time tarting my little Iota character up just to how I liked him. Than a 25-year-old should. This game is really, really cute, really good. And if I'd not played anything with my Vita for months to come, Tearaway probably would have been justification enough alongside the PS4 remote play to justify the purchase. I think the Tearaway bundle, at least in the UK, is probably the cheapest bundle going. It's about £150, which gives you Tearaway and Little Big Planet digital copies. Was yours a digital copy?
I was lucky. I got two.
Damn, man. I was like, when you said that, I went through my boxes again just in case I'd missed the second voucher, but I just think you got lucky, man.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got the voucher code for the Big Planet, which was in the actual Vita box with their charger and everything. And then in the bundle box, I had two boxes for codes. One of them, or both of them, sorry, were Tearaway. So I claimed one and I gave the other one to a mate. So, yeah, you can't message me for it much.
All right then. So yeah, Tearaway, much deserving of an A. Now I'm gonna go make some papercraft.
Me too.